right, it is 1 o'clock. I just want to say happy spring, everyone, and I appreciate everybody coming to the next town hall meeting that we have today. Big thing about today's town hall meeting is how to get another 2 hours of prospecting time in your week. That's easier said than done.
It is.
But I do have a very, very good friend as well as a colleague of mine. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing good, How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks for coming. We had to book him about 2 months in advance just to make sure he can get into his schedule.
That's about right. That's about right.
So tell us, how long have you been here?
I've been with the Corps now for actually my 3-year review was last week, so I've been with the Corps 3 years now.
Congratulations. Good review. Obviously, you're still here.
Well, Rick Ruby gave me a review. I'm still here, so it went well.
All right. So, can you give us a little information? Give us some background. What's been going on with you ever since you moved here? Where did you come from?
All right, so I was actually born in Seattle. I moved out to North Carolina when I was in the 3rd grade, so I've been here for a vast majority of my life. And I found the Corps 3 years ago through a mutual friend. So my best friend of 20 years actually married Lindsay, which is
Rick Ruby's, yes.
Which is Rick's daughter.
Yeah.
And I came from after college, didn't graduate college, had a lot of laboring jobs, landscaping, about 6.5 years in land surveying. I was making about $35,000 a year. I was working, probably 50, 60 hours a week, a lot of travel. It was hard work. I mean, it was labor. My back was sore. My body was always sore. And at the time, my wife was pregnant. So at the time, she was about 8 months pregnant. And I started venting to Lindsay and Chris. We actually went to the mountains one day. And I said, I'm getting kind of tired of my job. I'm not making a lot of money. My wife is pregnant, which you guys are aware of. I want something better.
Yeah.
Right? So Lindsay said, I'll never get these words, come work for the Corps. She said, come work for the Corps. And that's what I asked her. I said, what's the Corps? She said, look at my dad. He's all over YouTube. So I looked him up. There was this crazy guy yelling at people about making money, saving money. And I told myself, I want to make money. I want to save money. It sounds like really cool. So I took an interview. What would I have me here? So at the time now, fast forward about a month, I go home and tell my 9-month pregnant wife, I said, I'm going to be a salesperson.
There you go. And
she looks at me and she says, which most 9-month pregnant women would say something crazy. She looks at me and she goes, Ryan, she goes, I'll support you 100% whatever you want to do.
Right.
Whatever's best for our family, get it done. So I took the job. You fast forward 3 years, quadrupled my income. I quadrupled my savings. So that crazy man on YouTube that said, I'll help you make money, save money.
It's true.
All the direction is true. It happened to me. So.
And you know what, to be honest with you, we were just talking about, we had a manager's meeting Tuesday, right?
Yes.
And he asked us all, he went around the table. Rick's very good at making sure everybody participates and everybody feels like, they're equal. And went around and talked about, what the Corps has done. And I remember some of us talking about how deliver on promises. Mm-hmm. And that's great. And by the way, your daughter just turned 3, so.
She did?
Yes. Yes, I missed the party. I do apologize.
You did miss the party. Not cool.
Yes, it was a great party, too. I heard.
It was very good.
So another good party to talk about. Loan officers.
They're definitely a party, that's for sure.
It's a party. And you know what? The thing about our loan officers is it's springtime, real estate's starting to get hopping. Mm-hmm. Lots of real estate opportunities now, and loan officers are going to run into one problem, or several problems, but one big problem is time management.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
What's the first thing that goes whenever their time management gets a little packed?
It seems like we all got in this business for the same reason, is to make money.
To make money.
Right. Whether you're a student of the Corps, if you're not a student of the Corps, you hire us or you've hired us to make money. Mm-hmm. So as we start getting, I like using the word busy. I like using the word either you're being productive or you're not being productive. So as you start getting super, quote unquote, productive, the first thing that tends to go, even my current students in the process I talk to regularly, is you guys stop prospecting. So that's the first thing to go. When you get productive, you feel like you're being too busy, we stop making our calls.
And busy actually means putting out fires, just knee deep into the files. I like to say not the expensive work, but stuff that probably $20, $25 an hour jobs, right? Mm-hmm. How, and that's our whole theme today. Let's give back. Let's give back. Let's give these loan officers a 2 hours of prospecting time. How do we do that?
I think that there's a lot of tactics to get back time. We always complain when I have enough time. Can the Corps give me 26 hours in a day? The answer is no.
No.
But we can give you back more productive time in your day,
mm-hmm.
right? Number one thing. Also, again, it depends on how many loans you're doing per month. And with the Corps metrics, 6 loans you hire, 12 loans you hire, 18 loans you hire, 25 loans you hire. But in general, if you're doing 6 loans, if you're doing 2 loans, if you're doing 50 loans, you've got to give yourself, number one, accountability to make the phone calls, right? So the tactic to get back some time is we suggest if you work in a cubicle or if you have an office, would be to put up signs outside your office door or outside your cubicle.
Prospecting signs.
That directs either other employees or your staff or your LPs to not interrupt you during this time.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, we like to prospect Monday through Friday between 9 and 12. So pick 2 hours between 9 and 11, 10 and 12 to make your phone calls per our theme days to ensure it gets done. So I have a sign on my office wall that says prospecting from 10 to 12.
Right.
So I know if someone comes by my office and it says prospecting between 10 and 12, that's my time to make way for my family.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want to interrupt me during that time, it's not okay.
Well, also, do they know? So we were talking about employees, staff, admins. Do they know your schedule? Do they know? And they can look at it and say, okay, hey, let's get a hold of Brian, and then look at your schedule and it's marked off on your calendar, prospecting time. Do they know and respect the fact that I can't reach out to him at that time?
My assistant does know.
Mm-hmm.
Our assistants do know our actual schedule. But outside employees, outside administrators, they don't know our personal schedule and have access to my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So I give them my schedule on my wall. So if they want to interrupt me during that time, it better be very, very serious.
We always say if it's not on fire, don't come.
Don't come.
Right.
So if they want to interrupt me during that time, it better be, number one, very serious. And if not, I'll tell them. You got to be very direct with your employees or very direct with your people in your office. But listen, this is my time to feed my family. I would give you the same respect.
Right. How hard is it to hold yourself accountable to doing that time?
Well, in the book that we're reading right now with Rick, John C. Maxwell, the 26 Leadership Handbook, the hardest person to direct is yourself. Right? So if you can't do it yourself, it's hard to make other people do it as well.
Right.
So it's very hard, but then again, having a structured plan, that's where the accountability comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You've got to be held accountable to make these calls because most of us won't if we're not being yelled at.
Right. It's true. And then the accountability, the self-accountability and the self-structure. So you got the times down.
Mm-hmm.
You put it on your door. You put it on your cubicle. You make sure everybody around you knows it and respects it and follows it.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, their time of prospecting, like I know you have a few reps, their prospecting time is mirrors yours. So yeah. So then while you're prospecting, they're prospecting.
Mm-hmm.
So then there really is no time suckers in there. It helps you out too.
Mm-hmm.
So one big thing is if you have LOs that are on your team, they need to be prospecting. Make sure it's the same time you're doing it. Make it fun. Have a little contest. Who can reach out? Who can talk to the most? Who can get more face-to-face appointments? That's a good time.
Right.
I mean, ours is usually the loser does win in our meetings.
Well, I had to do one a couple of weeks ago. I had to sing Frozen for the entire show.
And you did a fantastic job.
Because I did something.
But the thing about it was you're the leader. You're a leader.
Mm-hmm.
You led by example. You sang. You came in last. You sang a great song.
Thank you.
But the thing about it is everybody knew that we played by the same rules, and
Mm-hmm.
you made it fun, right?
And this one thing, last thing with the actual signs on your door, guys, give it some time. Don't just do it once and expect everything's going to be perfect. I mean, you got to do this tactic for the next, I would say, 2, 3, 4 months to get your office engaged into what you're doing.
You need to take momentum.
Exactly.
It's got to get some momentum, though, right?
Agreed.
All right, so that's fantastic. How about your client stuff? Right? So we all know there's clients, real estate agents. When they want us, they'll call us. And when they call us, they expect us to answer the phone or call them back at immediately in 30 minutes or less. How do you train them? What do you do in regards to setting the expectations, setting the standards, and also almost like saying under-promising and then giving yourself an ability to over-deliver?
That's a good question, Hal, and it's one of those things where it all boils down to the initial expectations. What expectations do you give realtors? What expectations do you give your past clients? What expectations do you give your borrowers? And the ones on this call right now that always feel like they're too busy is because you have bad expectations. In our personal opinion, you just have bad expectations for people, and you're allowing your business to run you.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to people every single week across the country that their business literally has taken a hold of them.
Their business manages them.
Exactly. So they're the ones taking the incoming calls, not the ones making the calls. And it boils down to one thing. This is a tactic that a lot of my students use, a lot of the core clients use it, a lot of our coaches use this tactic, is to add, this is scary to a lot of people, I got a lot of pushback on this, but when you do it and you use this over time, it actually gets your schedule so much more dialed in with better expectations would be to add callback times to your voicemail.
See, I love that build up. You're building that up. Just let us know. Add callback times to your voicemail. Okay. If you guys have a pen and pencil right now, pad, I would definitely write this down. Try to go slow. I heard yours earlier. It was fantastic. Try to go slow. But what would an ideal voicemail callback recording sound like?
I think it sounds something like, hi, this is Ryan Ellsworth with ABC Mortgage. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. I apologize for missing your phone call. I'm either with another client right now or I'm at home taking care of my family. But I do return calls daily between 1 and 2, then again between 4 and 5. Any calls received after 6 o'clock, I will return the following business day.
Which is perfect. So now you gave yourself 2 times that you're going to be on the phone returning phone calls, right? 1 to 2 and 4 to 5. Within that voicemail, so many things can happen. Just give me a few things that actually just kind of trickle down from that, having that as your voicemail message.
Well, number one, it gives your agent or your particular borrower that you're working with, it gives them an expectation that you will call them back between 2 times. If you don't have a callback time, they don't know when you're going to call them back. So the key with the callback times, guys, is to deliver on the promise. Right? So if you say if someone calls you at 11 during your prospecting time, which is in your schedule, your sign's on the door, and you don't take the phone call because you're trying to learn how to run your business, they leave you a voicemail. When 12 o'clock hits, you better be calling that person back. Because the second that you do call that person back, the expectations are now set. Yeah. They know when Ryan misses my phone call because he's with a client or with his family, that he will call me back during these 2 times. And you could be in a closing. You could be at your son's baseball game. You could be out. You don't know what's going on. So, again, they miss our calls all the time. So if you miss one of their calls, I promise you the business isn't just going to shut down. They won't just go right to the next lender. And if they do, that's because you have a poor relationship in place. Right.
Okay. What else can you leave as an expectation when a buyer? You're sitting next to me. I can hear, and let's just be honest, you can put your phone on vibrate all you want. You can hear the vibration on it. All of a sudden, I notice that you don't even touch your phone. What expectations are you setting? What are you telling me?
You're the borrower calling
me? No, with you. No, I'm a client of mine. I'm your client, and we're just sitting here, and I hear your phone buzzing, and you don't even think twice to look at it. What does that tell me?
It tells me I'm engaged with you. Because if you're my borrower, I'm getting you closed on your first dream home, and I have another client calling me, if I answer that phone call, that's taking the value away from you. This is your time with me. It's scheduled. This is our time. Right. I mean, whoever's in my phone right now calling me, it could be my wife, it could be my kids, it could be another borrower, it could be another realtor. But I know right now that my time is focused on you, and I need to give you my time.
And then also with that voicemail, that person that's on the other line is completely taken care of. Expectations are set. What happens if you don't have anybody to call back during those hours? Right?
There you go. If you want more time to prospect, this is what this webinar is about today, is finding more time to prospect. If you have your callback times in your schedule, again, it needs to be in your schedule for 1 to 2,
or 4 to 5.
Or 4 to 5. You only have 3 callbacks to make, and that takes you 15 minutes. We've just now given you back another 45 minutes to make more calls.
Of pure prospecting time.
Of pure prospecting, money-making time.
Because you should not be in the files. You should not be putting out fires. You should not be meeting with your team at that time, because you promised yourself, as well as your clients, whoever called, that that's the time you have dedicated in the day to call back. Now, if there's no one to call back, make money.
Why we're here.
We're making money, right? I mean, that's the big thing. So, one not the biggest thing, but a huge thing is we always say, call your 40 realtors on Monday, right? And then, or we always say, call your realtors. It doesn't mean Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We keep it fresh. How do we keep it fresh? How do you keep your calls fresh? Because you don't want it to be like so mundane that you feel like you call everybody on the same day.
Well, number one, the biggest complaint agents get from lenders, they're on this call right now, the biggest complaint, which you guys probably know this, but some of you are taking actions to fix it, some of you are not, is communication. Right? So it's very rare that you can overcall an agent. Very rare that you can overcall a past client. Very rare you can overcall a borrower.
Well, there's never been an agent that's ever said, I don't want to work with that loan officer because he calls me too much and gives me too much information and too much update. There's no such thing. That never happens. I was on a call with a team earlier, and I told them that. I was like, you will never have an agent call you and say, I don't want to work with you because you give me too much update.
Right.
Or you communicate way too much.
Right. So here at the core, we teach to make our 40 calls on Monday to our agents. We want to call them. We want to be the first phone call they get on a Monday after a weekend. So we want to call 40 between that block, between anywhere from 9 to 12 to call those agents. And to keep those calls fresh, you got to have a reason to call them. Right. Number one is to check up on them, build a deeper relationship with them, ask about their weekend, how's their family doing, how are the kids, any fun vacations coming up, invite them to something. If you're doing a lunch and learn, you can invite them to your lunch and learn, you can invite them to your happy hour.
Yep.
Little things like that. You can always add value in, hey, I've listened to a realtor coach over the weekend. I have 10 great tactics on time management that you can utilize in your business. Call me back. And then on Tuesdays, we do our status calls. Right? So every single Tuesday, like clockwork, give the realtors that open communication. We call the agent, we call the listing side, we call the borrower, and we call title and escrow to give all parties involved an update call, which those Tuesday calls will eliminate incoming calls to you because you're being in front of your business.
Unless they really need you or something comes up, they're going to call you regardless. But one thing I love about those Tuesday update calls is you set the expectation for the listing agent, which might be a listing agent that never took your phone call in the first place months ago or years ago. Now, all of a sudden, you're partnering up, and they have a reason to answer your phone call.
And just so you guys know, the listing agents on the size of the deals, for typical lenders, they aren't being called. So if you're on this call right now and you're not calling a listing agent on Tuesday to update on the file with your borrower,
missing out
you're missing out big time.
Yep. All right, and then Wednesdays, of course, you do your pre-apps. But the cool part about it, and we can go on and on exactly what to do, right? But that's what the core does, right? The core, what we did today, and what you did was you gave 2 tactics that can very easily give an opportunity for a loan officer to maintain 2 extra hours a week, if not more. If not more, 2 extra hours a week of prospecting.
If what though? If implemented. That's the key.
Execution. They have to execute. So, yeah. Is there anything else you want to add?
When it comes to that, it's just I would say, guys, if you're in the business to make money, then find time to make money. No more excuses. Just get it done.
Yeah, and especially now's the time. I mean, the market's starting to really flow. Yeah. All right, this is the time when we usually open it up, guys. There's a questionnaire that I can actually see. Type it in if you have any questions. Ryan and I are here, we'll definitely answer all your questions. So start typing, and we'll definitely answer it. Ryan, what's going on in April? I'm sorry, not April. August 18th.
August 18th, we're actually coming back to Dallas, Texas. We're doing the Mega Marathon again. We had a great attendance last year in August, so we're doing it this year. So if you want to learn from our coaches, if you want to come out there and see us live for a day, I would recommend calling our front desk or getting with your sales rep and learning more about the Mega. It's a big event. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Good. Nice plug. Jim, you actually said that the sound was muffs. We do apologize. So, Ryan, loudly, can you just recap the 2 points real quick?
Yes, Jim, the 2 points for getting back 2 hours in your schedule daily to prospect would be to number 1, you want to add signs to our door or to our cubicle informing the employees around you or anyone in your office that you are prospecting during these 2 times and to not be interrupted.
Do not disturb signs.
Number 2 would be to add callback times to your voicemail.
Add 2 callback times to your voicemail. So when people are calling in, let them know, hey, you know what, I'm sorry I can't get to your phone right now or my phone right now. I do return phone calls every afternoon from 1 to 2 and in early evenings between 4 and 5. If you call me past work hours, I will reach out to you the next following day.
Perfect. Well said.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I learned quick. So the Mega, it's how many people do you think is going to?
Our goal is to get 1,500 there with the Mega, and the value in coming to see us live at the Mega would be you get to learn from loan officers that are active in the business that all make over $1 million a year.
Give me an incentive to sign up early.
Well, if you were to sign up early before April 15th, you get a $100 discount. But if you're not a current member, it's $9.95. After April 15th, before April 15th, it's $8.95. So you save $100, which is a pretty solid deal. And for $8.95, you don't come to Mega and learn at least one tactic to close you an extra 1 deal. I'll be surprised.
Yeah, it's again, it comes down to execution.
Agreed.
Right. The one thing that we always say is, I'm sure everyone here has either been on our website, been on our YouTube, has gotten your hands on our CDs, or has heard something great about us and is just wondering what we're all about. Come to the live event. right? It's like coming to a live concert. Being around people that are actually implementing, learn and be ready to ask a lot of great questions is the best way. You know, if you like our CDs, if you like seeing Rick on the YouTubes, his Monday Motivational, coming to a live event is taking it up at least 10 notches.
Right. I mean, this is the only coaching company, guys, that you get to learn from active producing lenders in the business today.
Right.
All been part of the core for a long period of time before becoming one of our coaches. They all make over $1 million a year. They all save 20% of their income monthly. They all have $500K in the bank, and we lead by example. Totally. Right? Whatever we have you guys doing, I promise you, we're doing it as well.
Right. All right, guys. So it's 1:21. Just to recap on everything that went on today, 2 extra hours for prospecting. Number 1, have a do not disturb sign on your door. You know, have everybody around you understand the reason why. Have a do not disturb sign on your door. And also number 2 is have callback times on your messages, your voicemail. That way you can definitely reach out and have those times, especially if you don't have to return back those phone calls. No time to return back. Oh, here's a long one. I'm sorry. Michael, I'm going to have to, okay, what is the best simple solution I've seen presented for a agent that has communications as their biggest don't like with lenders, and are you still having your agent sign a simple agreement to begin relationships after the second 15-minute meeting? That's a 2-step close. Go ahead. I'm going to expand it. I'm going to try to expand it for you. Did you get that question?
I didn't get the question. All
right. So Michael wants to know, what is the best simple solution you've seen presented for an agent that has communication as the biggest don't likes
okay, they don't like
with lenders? Perfect.
So it's one of those things. If their biggest frustration is communication, which a lot of the agents out there, that's their biggest frustration with their current lender is communication. If you reach out to us and you get a copy of our theme days, which is how our core coaches and how all of our students prospect, with the Monday calls, Tuesday calls, Wednesday calls, all the way through Friday. If you're doing that consistently, regularly, with your agents, with your current agents, or the agents you're actually going after right now, you will never hear the objection that you have bad communication.
But this is, and just to answer, and I think I got you, is, Michael, if they're telling you they don't like communication, that means phone calls, at least make sure you're emailing or, you know, I mean, it is 2017. Rick might not, you know, text them.
And again, if they don't like communication, that concerns me.
It does.
Because most big agents do like a lot of communication from their lenders because you are responsible for them getting paid. And if you're under communicating and they're not getting paid, it's going to upset them. So again, we're selling to 4 generations right now. There's a lot of text messaging right now. There's a lot of Snapchatting and emails. So just figure out their best form of communication with you. And sometimes you get to think outside the box and go that route.
Right. And the contract agreement, I mean, Todd's big into that.
It is. It's called he likes the gentleman's agreement.
It's a gentleman's agreement, but he has them sign it also. Mm-hmm. So yes, it is useful and valuable, yes. So we are still having agents implement that sometime. Great question, though. I like that.
Really good question.
Anything else?
And if you guys have any questions just based around time management, prospecting, team building, we cover all those things as well. Today's more about, you know, prospecting and finding time. But if you have any general questions about how to better your business, shoot them our way.
Yeah, and I will tell you, out of everybody here, if you have questions that we did not answer, obviously we must have did a great job because there's not that many questions today. Great job, Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you know that we will reach out to you, or if you're just, you know, if you're just shy and you don't want to ask questions, that's completely fine too. We will reach out to you, and hopefully we can either answer a question or really get you implemented into the core.
Agreed.
So, Brian, thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Guys, next month, we're also going to do one, and I think it's going to do a little bit more with operations on how to make sure our paperwork and just the whole operations side is running smoothly so we can go out and prospect more. Enjoy the rest of the day, and please feel free to reach out to us at thecoretraining.com. And I look forward to it. Thanks again for joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Hey, Zach, if you're still here, I will give you a call later and answer your question, okay? I just saw it. I apologize.